Welcome back to Breakfast Television. It is 7:49 now and time to focus on business. And for that, we turn to our business editor, Mike Eppel. Happy Wednesday, sir.
Thank you. It is Wednesday. I'd forgotten.
How could you forget?
Because the days just kind of blur into each other.
Do they?
When you're my age.
Oh, I've heard that happens with old age.
Not wrong.
Let's jump right into our hot topics for today.
Yes.
What's the update with coronavirus? Is it still making negative impacts?
Yeah, sure is. In fact, we've had British Airways cancel flights. Air Canada's scaled things back. Big companies are saying we have to restrict travel in China. Starbucks has closed over 2,000 stores. That's about half of its total in China on a temporary basis. Toyota has extended a production shutdown, which was already in effect for Lunar New Year celebrations. They're extending that by a week. So, yeah, these companies are all adapting. Facebook's got no essential travel, business travel to China, and it's probably going to expand from here, I would assume, as they still don't have a handle on this thing.
You've been doing this for a long time. Have you seen something like this before, where massive companies like Facebook are limiting travel and huge companies like Starbucks are closing their doors?
Well, again, we go back to 2003 and the SARS outbreak and how that was handled then, because that took a lot longer to kind of get into the public realm when that outbreak occurred. And we're already actually surpassing some of the numbers that we saw at that time. And also that was time of year. This one is in January. SARS was spring and summer. So there are a lot of mitigating factors to it. The other thing, too, I mean, we'd heard from Apple. They had their earnings announcements, and the numbers were there. We'll talk about that in a second, how amazing they were from a record-breaking standpoint. But Tim Cook, the CEO, saying it's slowing sales in the short term in China. The company that makes all of the iPhones, Foxconn, with their city-sized factories, they're saying it's business as usual, but again, that's something to watch.
So iPhones have been floating around for quite a while now.
Yes.
I've had my MacBook for years. So what is it exactly that is skyrocketing Apple's earnings?
Well, people are starting to replace older models. For a time, they were holding onto their phones a little bit longer, but then Apple came out with the 11, and now the next thing is going to be 5G, so people aren't going to have older phones in circulation as much as they did. So for the holiday sales quarter, Apple made more money than any company in U.S. history.
Okay.
$22 billion. $22 billion. Back in the day, ExxonMobil would typically, the big oil company would do $10 billion, and you go, holy mackerel, that's a huge number. Apple says, hold my beer. So, I'm being serious, though, because they had $92 billion in sales. And, it wasn't just phones, it was Mac computers, AirPods, all these other things. Stocks at a record this morning. It's at $1.4 trillion market value and climbing.
Well, and I'm adding to it. I've got my iPhone, albeit very, very cracked.
You're in the ecosystem.
I'll see you tomorrow, okay, Mike?
Thank you. You
can hear Mike on 660 News as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the markets.
This portion of BT is brought to you by 660 News, Calgary's breaking news, weather, and traffic station.